everyone, it's Don with Don's Field of Dreams Cards, coming to you with another national video. Hope you're not tired of seeing everyone's videos, but mine's a little bit later than everyone else's. I didn't get home until Tuesday evening around 10:30. My wife flew out Sunday and met her down in the city, and we spent a couple days, just the two of us, no kids, enjoying some quality time. I'd been to Chicago 6 or 7 times, but first time for my wife, so that was kind of cool. So I flew in Thursday, got to the show around 3:30, and literally was in the show for about 5 minutes when I ran into Chuck Northside guy, who, if you saw, we did a Hobby Palooza video together, so it was very cool to run into someone that quick. But it's funny, overall on the floor, I mean, I ran into some guys, but then there were other guys, I didn't see at all. And I think part of it is, you're so focused on the cards that you're not seeing guys. You walk into this place, and it's true what everyone says. It's just like, oh my gosh, like look at all these cards and all these tables, and cards that you've just seen in books or on eBay are sitting right in front of you, and some of them are graded 9s and 10s. I know people have shown, there's a display, there's like 12 Ty Cobbs, that are all the same. The Hannes Wagner card that's on the REA auction for 4 point something or other $1 million. Just unbelievable stuff. And, found some good deals walking around. I'm going to tell you a story here in a little bit. It's kind of an embarrassing story, but I think you all get a good laugh out of it and make fun of me for it. So it's the first day, and I walk up to this dealer, and I see this Hannes Wagner there. I said, how much is this? And he said, 30. I said, what's the best you could do? He goes, 28. So would you take 25? He's like, 26 is the best I can do. I'm like, fine, I'm not going to haggle you over $1. Thinking that this card's a reprint. I don't know if it was just I was overwhelmed or tired from the flight or what, but the guy looks at me when I throw my $26 on the table and goes, sir, that's $26,000. I said, I am so embarrassed. I couldn't wait to pick up my money and get out of there. I was like, I feel like an idiot. So I can make fun of myself, a little mud on my face, rookie mistake. Never seen cards worth that much. Never dreamt that some guy would just hand me a card worth $30,000 just to look at like it was a $30 card, like I thought it was. So got away from his booth pretty quick and then settled down. And I had to rein myself in a little bit too, because you just see all these cards and you want to instantly like, oh, let me get that one. And then it's like, you know what? Let's look for some of the cards on your list. Just don't buy random cards. And I did get some cards on my list and some other cards that I wasn't really planning on getting, but found some cards that I really liked. So that was Thursday night. That evening, had dinner with Chuck Northside guy, and then we went over to the hotel for Mike Moynihan, and his group of YouTubers were there, and that was fantastic. What a bunch of great guys. And the funny thing is, I shocked everyone apparently, and I thought I mentioned this in videos, but I'm almost 6'5". So when I walked in the room, like Eric, those back pages, for instance, like didn't even recognize me at first, kind of looked up and was like, oh, Don. And Eric is surprisingly tall as well, and so is Rick, Oddball Cards. So I must have shocked about 4 or 5 people with how tall I am, so that was kind of the running joke there. But it's easy to find me in a room, that's for sure. And I was really happy to see that these guys were all what I was hoping they would be. You watch videos of guys and it's like, seems like a pretty good guy. I hope when I meet them in person that they are that good of a guy and they're not a jerk. And that was the case. And many people have said this, but I can't think of one person that I met that wasn't like they are on their videos. Genuine, nice guys. Guys that are really well known on his videos or YouTubes to, guys that you barely even, rambling here, but you know what I mean? They don't know your channel, at least you don't think they do. And so great bunch of guys there. And You know, being a first timer, I didn't know what to expect. But going around the show, you know, everyone was saying how crowded it was, and it was, but I don't have anything to compare it to. So I guess it didn't really bother me. You know, that crowd was my baseline. Uh, Still was able to see a lot of great cards, and even ran into my local dealer here in Pittsburgh, had a table set up, and he's like, "What do you think about these museum prices?" So even hearing that from a dealer was kind of funny. But you know, I was able to pick up some good cards at some good prices for what I was looking for. But you know, it's been said on here, on everyone's videos, about the people, the hobby, and coming from a new YouTuber, you know, only in this for 8 months, and never being to a national, never met anyone in this hobby in person. It is so true. The national would not have been nearly as much fun if I didn't get to meet all these guys. You know, they show you their cards, and you were just happy for them, you know, because you feel the same way about your cards, how happy you are to get them. And you just, you know, it's like, hey, that's one of my friends, and I'm really glad they were able to do that. And you know, it's not BS when people say it's the people. It's true. You know, like I said, I was very welcomed by everyone there, and walked around. You know, spent some time with Dean Gearhart, another fellow Pittsburgher. We walked the floor. Didn't know what he looked like. Doesn't show his face on videos. I was just walking the floor, and he see this guy like doing this, and Don, Field of Dreams cards, and you know, just started walking around. And it was funny. Like I said, I ran into Chuck right away, and then there were other days I barely saw anyone. And then like one day I saw Rick, again, vintage oddball cards, like 4 times on the floor. So again, just if you can go, do it. You know, I wasn't sure I was going to go, and had some people kind of give me the nudge to go, and so glad that they did, because you know, first of all, I can check that off the bucket list, but just it's the experience. You know, the cards I got, I love, but as other people have said, if I didn't find these cards, I would have been okay. I would not have considered it a wasted trip, because I have memories and even better friendships than I had before. And so before I show you the cards that I picked up, I am going to show you the shirt I'm wearing, this Christy Mathewson baseball card here, and wore this shirt at the show and got quite a few comments about how great this shirt is. And it was a gift from Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards. I'm sure you've seen it on some other videos. People received these t-shirts, so I was quite surprised and very thankful. And as you can see on other people's videos, people brought all kinds of things for other YouTubers, and bought things at the show, and just a generous, good group of people. And that's why I originally got into making YouTube videos, was to meet people like this. And you know, my goal was accomplished. So enough of me rambling here. Let's take a look at the cards and some of the other things that I picked up from the show. All right, let's start with some of the cards I got from the YouTubers. Got the red parallel, Scott, Reindeer Studios. His partner in crime and art, Eric at 4 Leaf Cards. Funny story about Eric. So Eric doesn't show his face on camera, and I was talking to this next guy here, John, Wade Boggs fan, and I said to John, hey, you know, have you met Eric 4 Leaf yet? And he smiled, and this guy standing next to me goes, hi, Don. And it was Eric. So it's kind of funny that Eric was literally standing right next to me, and I didn't know what he looked like, and was asking John here if he was at the party. And also teased John here this 7 of 40 that I should have held out for either the 12 or 26 for Wade's numbers, that those cards would have been worth more. Some more autographed cards. Mike, baseball collector. Got the dual Mike O and the Ed Wesker, not Wester, I can't talk. Share your knowledge card from Eric, those back pages. And he autographs the back because he doesn't want to ruin the artwork that JT created here for me. And I totally agree, Eric. Great card he made for you. And then this other dual auto here of Dustin and his son Blake. So it was very cool picking those cards up. So the first day, I got 2 pickups, and Mike, baseball collector, mentioned this guy, and it's total coincidence that I had bought a card from him as well. And Mike was right, his vintage was really awesome. So the first card of the show that I picked up was this Honus Wagner. And I asked him the price, and he said $650. And I made sure it wasn't $650,000, mistake I made earlier. But he said, I'll give it to you for $500. So couldn't pass that up. Really nice card, and probably the only Honus Wagner I'm ever going to have. But it cracks me up. He's chewing beech nut chew here, and the rumor is that his T206 is so rare because he was against tobacco, which that is clearly false, as he's putting a big chaw in right here. And then added this beautiful Roberto Clemente, 1964. So these are 2 cards that were not on my want list. I shouldn't say want list, because I've obviously wanted these cards for my collection, but I didn't have them on the particular list that I had made out. So the second day at 2 pickups, this is for my Stan Musial collection. Thought this was really cool. 1952 Wheaties, hand cut, but I think it's beautiful, and didn't find as many unique Musial items as I was hoping to, but picked up a couple. So been looking for this card forever on eBay. This is a 1953 Bowman Luke Easter, and just could never find one either in my price range or the centering that I liked. You know, I ideally wanted to get a graded copy of this. The only one I found, I was at a dealer and I asked him if he had this card. He said, I believe I have one back here in the safe. And I don't know if you guys have noticed on these videos, these safes, some of these guys have are huge. So he pulls out a PSA 8, which right away I'm like, that's going to be way more than I want to pay. And he's like, $1,500, which, like I said, was way more than I wanted to pay. So found this one at the end of the day along with another one, and I was with James Elite Hunters, and this one was 40, and there was another one was 30. And I'm like, James, which one do I get? He said, pay the extra $10 for the nicer card. So really nice having another set of eyes there to help me out with that. So that night I went to dinner with James and Jim Picker S, or yeah, Picker Jim S. And so we're sitting at the bar, and there's this guy to the right of James, and I'm sitting to the left of James, and he introduces himself, and he said, oh, I'm here to write about the National. And he's kind of picking our brains about, you know, what we do, our YouTube channels, how we all came here and we congregate, meet, and what, you know, we just do it for the fun of it. We're not here making money. And I said, you know, where is this going to be printed? And he said, I'm not sure yet, but I wrote this book. And he gives me this card. It's called The Wax Pack. And I'm like, I've read your book. I'm like, you actually wrote this book? And he's like, I did. And it's a book about him buying a pack of cards. And he tried finding all 15 guys. He traveled all over the country and met up with them and wrote a chapter. Al Cowens, who played for the Royals and Tigers, was deceased. So he obviously didn't get to meet him. And Carlton Fisk was the only Hall of Famer in there. And he said that was kind of tough. And he writes about it in the book. So I had him sign it here for me. And I'm gonna really butcher his name. It's Brad Balukian, I think, and he's actually a biology professor and mainly writes about biology, but he likes baseball as well. And he was just talking about, you know, opening packs as a kid. So that was really cool to be sitting next to someone that I'd actually read their book before. So as you can see, after 2 days, I had 4 cards. So I was feeling a little like, well, I thought I'd find a lot more at the show than I had. So on Saturday, I walk up to this booth, and it's all Japanese cards and products, and a lot of people that were there know who I'm talking about. And the guy looks at me, he's like, Don. And I look around behind me thinking there's someone else named Don. And I said to the guy, I said, I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong person. I don't believe we know each other. And he goes, Don, Field of Dreams cards. Like, it never dawned on me that someone recognized me from my videos. So it was kind of cool. And not only that, his name's Robert, Prestige Collectibles. Scott, Big Scott 35 was standing next to me, who I didn't know. So he ended up introducing us to each other, and then I met Scott later. So didn't even faze me that somebody would recognize me from my video, but really cool. So I picked this up from him, and I don't know how well I can get it on here, but it's a Japanese tour from 1958 with Stan Musial, and there's some pictures inside. I'm not going to pull it out because it's kind of brittle, but I thought it was a really cool, unique piece for the Musial collection. So another cool story. A little embarrassing that I didn't realize who it was, but not as embarrassing as trying to buy a $30,000 card for $25. So Saturday, my last day at the show, ended up being a little better. So picked up, you're going to see a couple Clementes in here, but this photo is from Dexter Press. So really great shot of Roberto Clemente. Picked up another card for my minor league to major, or I do that all the time, Negro League to Major League, and this is Ray Nobley. And here's a lesson I learned too. You know, in the beginning of the show, I would just kind of look and see what was on the table and move on. And a couple guys are like, no, they don't have everything out. You know, as they sell stuff, they replenish, or they have stuff in the back. And asked this guy if he had this card. He said, well, I'm not sure. And went back into the box, pulled it out. And another one that I would have loved to have got graded, but just couldn't find it. So very cool card for that collection. It was 18, paid 15 for it. Then I saw Eric Four-Leaf Clover, or Four-Leaf Cards. Excuse me for butchering a lot of stuff in this video, but he was looking at I believe, 58 All-Star Mickey Mantle. And I was just looking at the case with him, and I saw this. And guy made me an offer, and it was 10% off. And I was very happy with this card. Although when Eric saw that he was only probably going to give 10% off, I believe he passed on that Clemente, Mantle. But very cool card. Then here's a card that I think Lou Rock TV has this, but I didn't have one of these. And it's a membership hand cut, 1972, the last year that Roberto Clemente played Daily Juice. If you look here, it's a Roberto Clemente fan club. And they were joking around that if you send this in, you get a free 8x10. So they were saying I should send this in and get my 8x10, but I'll keep this as my 8x10. The only card that I did not get a deal on, and I bought this card right after the next one I'm going to show you, which is my big card. But he had a 5 and a 4, and they were $10 apart, but the 4 looks so much better than the 5, and he wouldn't budge on it. And you know, I knew it was the end of the show for me, and it was a fair price, and you know, didn't feel like doing the walk away and come back. And I love 1950 Bowman cards, so to add this Phil Rizzuto to my collection, so you know, out of one card I didn't get a deal on, that's okay. So the next card was really the main card I wanted on my list. And early on, Mike Moynihan made a video, and he bought one of these cards before I even got to the show. And I was joking around with him, like, you know, I hope you left one for me. And I didn't see many cards of this player. And actually, one thing I don't like about the National, maybe the only thing, is all the auction houses are there, and they're showing beautiful cards, but they're not for sale. I was looking for a 1933 Gaudy Lloyd Wayner, and the only ones I could see were trashed. And then I came upon this booth, and there was an SGC3, and it was beautiful. And then I looked up, and it was an auction house. He's like, well, you can bid on it in November. And I was like, that's fantastic. So, you know, it kind of teases you a little bit. You see these cards, but you can't buy them. But looked around all week for this card, and finally came across it on the last day I was there. And it's this beauty, this 1933 Gaudy Dizzy Dean. Centering's a little off, and you know, corners aren't perfect, but it is 90 years old or almost 90 years old, and but there's no wrinkles on it. Just shows really well. I think Mike got his in a 3, if I'm right. But you know, this was the main card that I wanted, and so happy that I got it. So like you see here, I didn't buy a ton of cards, but I'm very happy with the ones I got, and like I said, really enjoyed the show. So as always, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.